And joining me now is Antoine Seawright, Senior Advisor to the Chair of the Democratic National Committee. Mr. Seawright, we appreciate you joining us ahead of the convention. Less than 2 days out. It's been a whirlwind month since President Biden dropped out of the race and the party unified around Vice President Kamala Harris. What message are you hoping to send voters when Democrats gather in Chicago starting Monday?
Oh, I think we're going to send a message of contrast. This election is about the future of this country, and certainly our message about whether it's economics, whether it's protecting a woman's ability to be trusted to make their own healthcare decisions, whether it's about expanding healthcare opportunities, whether it's about building the family unit, as Vice President Harris laid out in North Carolina in front of working class people on yesterday. I think that's what the message is, all this. That's what the message we rooted in this convention. And I think that's a big contrast to what we see from fear messaging on the other side. And that's why I'm so proud of the candidate quality we have in Vice President Harris and Governor Tim Walz.
Now, the Vice President just released key parts of her economic plan ahead of the convention. She pledged to take on inflation and ban grocery price gouging, to tackle the housing crisis by constructing 2 million affordable units, and to provide tax relief for middle-class families, in part by boosting the child tax credit. What does the Vice President's economic plan tell you about her priorities?
Well, if you ask the simple question in politics, show me what your priorities are, I'll show you what you value. It says that she values having access to the American dream. Reverend Al, truth be told, the American dream has become the American nightmare for many because of accessible and quality access to housing in this country, healthcare, and a number of other things. What we see in her economic plan is building on the progress that she and President Biden made together. We know under the Biden-Harris administration, more African Americans have started businesses than ever before in the history of this country. We know we have the lowest unemployment rate among African Americans on record, 16 million jobs created, lowered the price of prescription drugs, including capping the price of insulin at $35 a month. We know they treated the American infrastructure as an investment, not an expense. That was the framing. Now she's painting a clearer picture. The macro now going to the micro, and that focus you saw in North Carolina, not perfect, but certainly a layer of progress. And expanded the child tax credit that cut Black child poverty in half, and a number of other things she made crystal clear in a contrast conversation to President Trump.
And directly addressing some of the concerns of the middle class. Let's stay on economics. This week, Vice President Harris and President Biden also announced a deal with pharmaceutical companies to cut the cost of Medicare's 10 most expensive drugs. The savings, which range from 40 to 80% depending on the medication, are made possible by the Inflation Reduction Act. Talk about who stands to benefit from this breakthrough, and could we see more like it in a Harris administration?
Well, very specifically, Lottie Dottie and everybody will benefit from this breakthrough and the progress we made under the Biden-Harris administration. So when people ask the question, Rev, what did my vote get me? We can point directly to these things that will benefit every single constituency in this country. And while not a single Republican may have supported the legislation, many of them who voted no have gone back home and taken credit for the dough. And that's because these are not Democratic issues or Republican issues. They do not benefit one constituency. They benefit all constituencies in this country. And that's why the next layer, as we paint this picture towards the future, the Vice President is laying the groundwork for that, and there's political currency in that, Reverend Al.
And I would underscore, because I've seen it with some, I guess, mild surprise. I can't be too surprised. Republicans that not only were against it, they voted against it and then went home and took bows for something that they opposed. The Trump administration has responded to the vice president's economic platform by claiming she stole his ideas, like no taxes on tips, or by claiming her proposals are communist, they said, which we should point out is not true. But let's talk about Trump's own plans, like massive tariffs on foreign goods and more tax cuts for the wealthy. Won't they only make inflation worse?
Well, we've seen 4 years of Donald Trump, and we have receipts from that, as we say in my neighborhood. We've also had 4 years of receipts from the Biden-Harris administration, in which Vice President Harris took an active role on starting this train of progress, getting down the track. Now her economic agenda, by the way, if you compare just the rollout of the two, he was in front of a golf club where membership only is required, and she was in front of working class people in battleground North Carolina. I think that says everything all by itself. But then when you get into the details, whether it's the child tax credit, whether it's housing, we know that the rent is too damn high, in the words of Secretary Marcia Fudge, former HUD secretary. She's dealing with bread and butter, barbershop and beauty parlor, kitchen table issues, whereas Donald Trump is dealing with the wealthy and the well-connected. That's the contrast we're having in this campaign.
All right, Antoine Seawright, Senior Advisor to the DNC Chair. Also, he's on my radio show with me every Monday to kick off the week.